Good evening, everyone. My name is Tony Mancuso, and I lead communication and outreach efforts for the Summer Health Professions Education Program, better known as SHPEP. Tonight's session will elucidate the programmatic logistics for the Minority Serving Pathway Initiative. But what is the Pathway Initiative, right? Well, MSIPI is an AAMC-funded initiative integrated into the SHPEP application. With one application, you'll be able to apply to both SHPEP and MSIPI sites, selecting up to 3 locations in total across both programs. The only differences between MSIPI and SHPEP are that MSIPI will only offer a medicine track, and the program experience is 5 weeks instead of 6 weeks when compared to SHPEP. Now, as far as the benefits of our program, you'll receive housing, meals, a stipend of $1,000, and travel assistance. But more importantly, you'll gain guidance from current admissions deans, health professionals, students in health professions programs, and peers about how to pursue your profession of interest. Now, to be eligible for the program, you must be a high school graduate and currently enrolled as a freshman or sophomore in college, have a minimum overall college GPA of 2.5, be a U.S. citizen, a permanent resident, or been granted DACA status by U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, and you cannot have participated in SHPEP or any iteration before applying to MSIPI. We want to make sure that everyone has a fair chance and an opportunity to apply to this programmatic effort. Now, there are other factors for consideration, and they include that a student either come from an economically or educationally disadvantaged backgrounds, or having demonstrated an interest in issues affecting underserved populations. I want to pause right here and say that the sites that you're going to hear from today engage in what's called holistic review, which means they're looking at more than just your GPA. That's why it's critically important for you to submit a compelling personal statement and a strong letter of recommendation. I do want to note that the Tilikum summer health experience at Portland State University requires applicants to be citizens or descendants of a federally recognized American Indian or Alaskan Native tribe. I'll now turn it over to my colleague, John Williams, to present on the ASU experience. John, feel free to take it away.
Thank you, Tony. And for all of those who are watching this broadcast, I want to thank you, first of all, for allowing me some time to share with you our program at Albany State University. Our program is the Aspiring Scholars in Pre-Medicine Program. And my team is Dr. Anthony Shea Jones, Professor Brandon Henry, and myself. And so, next slide, please. I want to begin by giving you a little rundown as to what we're going to discuss tonight. First, I want to introduce you to my team, which is my pre-professional committee here at Albany State University. I want to give you a little bit of information about our partnering institutions and how we selected those institutions for this program, because that's going to be very important. We want to talk a little bit about the core foundations of the ASUP program, give you a rundown of the program structure and components, talk about some of the tangibles and deliverables that you will receive and that you will leave from this program with as you are working your path towards medicine. Talk about the benefits of participation, and then if we have time, we'll do question and answer session. Next slide, please. So before we even dive into the program, I want you to meet my team. And I think it's important for you to know who's helping me to execute this program, because we bring a wealth of experience to this new initiative. I, Dr. Williams, am the current director of the Undergraduate Health Sciences Academy here at Albany State University. This is a program where students who are inclined to go into medicine or medically adjacent fields can get mentoring, advisement, and experiential learning opportunities that will help strengthen their application. I'm also the advisor of the Minority Association of Pre-Medical Students, MAPS, which is an undergraduate branch of the Student National Medical Association. And recently I received an award of excellence, a National Award of Excellence through this program for pre-med advisement. Professor Brandon Henry is my student engagement coordinator. He oversees many of our MOU programs and partnership programs with other institutions, such as our BS to MD program with Meharry Medical College. He is also the co-director of our Summer Health and STEM Academy, which is a summer program that we have for high school students as they are matriculating towards college to get them on the pathway at an early stage in their career. And he also oversees our health occupation program, or HOSA. And then Dr. Antashay Jones. She is our in-house public health subject matter expert, and she oversees our research and service engagement. She currently runs several programs with Morehouse School of Medicine, which is one of our partners, as well as with the local healthcare facilities at Phoebe Putney Memorial Hospital. And she is the advisor of Women in Pre-Medicine, and she has received numerous awards just this year alone for her work in public health and student involvement. And so I wanted you to see the three people who will be executing from my team because I want you to see that we do bring a wealth of experience to this program, and we are excited to share that experience with you as you are making your way towards your career paths in medicine. Next slide, please. Our partnering institutions. Morehouse School of Medicine and University of Connecticut Health are our partner institutions. And it's kind of interesting how we came to work with both of these institutions. Morehouse School of Medicine has been working with Albany State University for over 15 years, providing exposure, engagement with our undergrads who are interested in medicine, and helping to make sure that they understand how Morehouse School of Medicine can assist them in their career pathway, even if they matriculate at other medical schools. So it was a natural fit for them to also be a part of this new initiative. UConn Health, however, you may ask, why are they involved if they're in the Northeast? Well, as it turns out, several of our alums, as well as former faculty members, are working and employed at UConn Health, doing exactly what we are doing with this program, engaging undergrads to prepare them for medical school. And so this creates a pathway towards entry into medical school at UConn Health as well. And so both of these institutions have committed resources, time, and expertise to help us craft this program that's curated specifically with you in mind. And so I'm very happy to have both of these reputable, outstanding institutions working with us. Next slide, please. Okay, so there is a quote by a revolutionary named Malcolm X, and that quote says, "When you replace I with we, illness becomes wellness." We're in a crisis. We're in a healthcare crisis, specifically in rural areas, even more specifically in areas like Georgia. Most people, when they think about Georgia, they think about Atlanta. And Atlanta is one of the bigger cities in the country. However, most of Georgia is rural America. And in rural America, the healthcare shortage is costing lives and costing patients and services money, resources, and all of those things that we have to try to find a solution for. One of the problems is this. In rural America, it is really hard to attract those who are not used to the rural area or the rural lifestyle to come and serve in those areas. And in states like Georgia, that is a major issue since most of Georgia is rural. This image that's on the left is an image of the medically underserved areas in the state of Georgia. Every county that is pink is considered medically underserved, which means there's not enough medical personnel or resources to service the individuals in that area and the surrounding areas as well. Well, you'll notice that about 95% of the state of Georgia classifies as a medically underserved area. Well, one of the things that we want to do here at Albany State is to provide resources and training and opportunities for those who are in areas like the rural areas of Georgia, or those who may not be familiar with the rural areas in the country. We wanted to provide opportunities for them to get that exposure, get that experience, but also if they are connected to these kinds of environments and communities, they're more likely to be willing to serve at least part of their career in these areas. So we wanted to help provide opportunities for homegrown talent. And so that's the reason why we're really excited about this program. It's right here in Southwest Georgia, and it's going to provide opportunities for students to get exposure to a number of different areas, primarily focusing on medicine, but also looking at other medically adjacent fields such as nursing, pharmacy, dentistry, and even public health. Next slide, please. Okay, so how is the program structured? It is a 5 week hybrid model. That means 2 weeks will be online where we will engage with you Monday through Friday, as well as some weekend programming that will be done for cohort building. And then there will be 2 weeks done at Albany State University. This is going to be where we get the intense immersion in academic enrichment, clinical skills training, and public health research. And then our last week is going to be in residence at Morehouse School of Medicine in Atlanta, Georgia. Morehouse is curating a week-long set of experiences that's designed to help you understand the pathway to medicine, to help you experience what medical school education is like, be able to see some of their clinics. And we're also including, just found out today, we got approved to include a visit to the Organ Procurement Surgery Center at Grady Hospital through LifeLink of Georgia. So these are all the things that they're going to be able to do during that week. And this entire program is going to be designed to strengthen key aspects of your academic and professional development. But we also want to make sure that there's space for personal growth so that you can understand how you are growing as a person, as well as how you are growing academically and professionally throughout these 5 weeks. Next slide, please. Okay. So to continue, advance for me. Continue, there are 6 areas that we really want to focus on throughout this program, and it's going to be interwoven throughout the activities that we plan on providing you. First, we want that academic enrichment. We want to be able to provide you with enrichment of the STEM content that you will have in your prerequisites. So that could be everything from biology to biochemistry, physics and chemistry, and anatomy and physiology. But we also want to provide you with critical thinking skills. We have a consultant that's going to come and provide activities and training on how to engage information critically and how to use that in everything from reading literature to performing well on the MCAT, DAT, and so forth. So that academic enrichment piece is critical. And one of the things we want to make sure that we do with that academic enrichment is either reinforce information that you've learned from classes that you've taken prior to the program, or introduce you to information that you will learn in classes that you'll take in future sequences. Second, we want to make sure that you have access to clinical skills and clinical exposure. I mentioned that we'll be doing the surgical unit visitation, but we also will be touring and engaging our nursing simulation center here at Albany State University. It's one of the largest in the southeast part of the state and one of the only ones in our 23 county service area. It's brand spanking new, and you all will be the first cohort to actually see this facility and actually be able to engage the activities in this facility. We have developmental support. This includes near-peer mentoring. Near-peer means those individuals who are in post-bac programs or in medical school. So not quite where you are, but not too far from where you are, and a little bit ahead of you to show you where you're trying to go. These will be near peers from Morehouse School of Medicine as well as UConn. And then we're going to have some networking opportunities so that you can meet individuals who are in the fields that you're interested in going into that can help you along the way. These include dignitaries from Albany, such as the members of the Griffin Jordan Medical Society, as well as our coroner, Michael Fowler, who would like for you to be able to see his coroner lab that we have here in Albany as well. Next slide, please. And advance one more. We have cultural enrichment. With this cultural enrichment, we want to help impress upon you the importance of cultural competency, which is going to be very critical, particularly in the zeitgeist of today, as far as it relates to healthcare. But we also have this health disparities research, which ties in really, really closely with the cultural competency piece. In rural areas in particular, health disparities are a major issue. And those health disparities have many factors that play a role into why some populations receive less equitable health care than others. Some of that could be cultural, some of it's racial, some of it's political, some of it's sociological. You will get a chance to see these aspects and how it ties into cultural competency. We mentioned personal growth, and so we'll work on your 5-year planning and your goal setting, so that when you leave here, you'll have an outlined path towards your goal, as well as some alternate paths that you may be able to pursue as well. And then we want to make sure that you have access to training in professional readiness. We want to help you develop your personal statement and your CV or your curriculum vitae. We want to help you with interview and application prep so that once you leave us, you have these 6 areas that have been strengthened and you can carry this experience along your path towards your medical career. Let's talk about our tangibles and deliverables. When you leave our program, we expect that you're going to have a professional portfolio, the beginning of your professional portfolio, with a summary of your experiences. We're going to help you craft and narrate the experiences that you have with our program, as well as the experiences that you've had up to our program, so that you have this in your portfolio ready to go when it's time to begin the application process. We also want to help you draft those key documents, everything from your personal statement, your curriculum vitae, your activity statement, your statement of purpose, which is slightly different from a personal statement. These documents, you will have drafts that have been reviewed with comments and edits, so that you can use these as living documents to add to as you continue matriculating towards graduation and towards your postgraduate careers. We will also provide certifications such as HIPAA certification. This will allow you to be able to go into healthcare spaces and engage in shadowing and clinical exposures. We have some clinical skills trainings that we would like you to participate in, including suturing, as well as taking blood pressures and a number of other key clinical skills pieces. And then, of course, we mentioned the public health and health disparities research, which once you're done, you'll be able to report your results and be able to have that experience to be able to refer to as you are moving forward and engaging your pre-medical career. So this will be a key piece that you'll be able to talk about in your interviews, when you're meeting others in the healthcare fields, and so forth. And then we want to have that academic preparatory material. You will have access to MCAT, DAT, and PCAT resources while you are here, as well as that academic planning piece. So we want to make sure that you have these deliverables and tangibles once you leave, and that you can always reference these. And of course, you'll always have access to us for as long as you have participated in our program. You'll always have access to us for whatever you need at the conclusion of the program as well. Next slide, please. What are the benefits for participation? Well, upon completion, you will have there will be a stipend of $1,000. I do want to apologize. That second line should be separate. You will have housing for the duration of the in-person component. So that'll be housing here at Albany State University, as well as a week's worth of housing in Atlanta when we're at Morehouse School of Medicine. Meals will be included for the in-person component for those 3 weeks. You'll have up to $500 travel assistance. So if you need to buy a flight, we have $500 to help offset those costs. If you drive or if you take ground transportation, we have $500 to help offset gas as well as mileage. And then if you need health insurance during those 5 weeks, we will help to provide that health insurance for you during those 5 weeks, so that if anything happens, you have access to care. And there's one additional bonus that I want to share with you. Advance, please. UConn Health, as a part of our partnership and as an effort to help show their investment in rural healthcare, as well as their investment in attracting students from places like Georgia and areas that are not in the Northeast, they are allowing for our alumni to participate in their summer programs in one of 3 areas: biomedical or basic sciences research, health disparities research, or MCAT and DAT preparation. So what that means is, by virtue of being a member of our cohort in 2025, You will automatically be eligible and qualify for their program the following summer in 2026. So this creates a 2 summer pathway of enrichment that you have access to just by virtue of being a part of our program. So I think this is a really, really cool benefit, and we're very grateful to UConn for allowing us the opportunity to offer that to you. Advance the slide, please. In conclusion, we are very excited about this program. We're looking forward to working with you. The three of us, as well as our partners, really want to play a role in helping you get to your career goals and dreams. And if we can do anything to help you through this process, then we consider that a win. So please consider us when you are applying. And at this point, I am going to turn it over to our colleagues from Portland State University and Oregon Health Sciences University.
Thank you so much, Sean. I'm going to go ahead and share my slides. All right, everyone. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's joining us this evening, who's taking the time out of your busy schedules to learn about our brand new MSIPI programs. I'm really excited to be here representing our Tilikum Summer Health Experience. We're going to go ahead and we're going to introduce ourselves and our team. So my name is Shandy Dixon. I will be serving as your faculty lead of the program. My background is Apache, and I'm also a microbiologist. And at Oregon Health and Science University, I have been a staff scientist working in cancer research for several years and have just transitioned into a wonderful educational role where I also serve as the research director for Hawaii's postbac medicine pathway at the Native American Center of Excellence. And I also work at Portland State University, serving as a faculty lead, and I develop curriculum for undergraduates who are interested in biomedical research. I'll hand it off to my partner, Alita.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alita Barlow. I am Klamath and Modoc, and I am the new Bridge Pathway Manager for our Tilikum Summer Health Experience with the Northwest Native American Center of Excellence. So just so you guys, you've kind of heard that the programs are 5 weeks long. Our program is going to be 3 weeks virtual and 2 weeks in person here in Portland at PSU and OHSU. And our program is designed for American Indian Alaska Native students that are state and federally recognized, for students with up to 60 credits. And then again, we'll be at Portland State University and Oregon Health and Science University in Portland. Go ahead, next slide. A little bit about what our program is going to entail. We'll have some academic enrichment, Indigenous health and wellness, professional development, and then financial support. I think these are kind of just our start, right? Because we're gonna go into depth on these ones.
Yeah, I want to walk us through a little bit more detail. When you join us here in Portland, we're going to have several different opportunities to gain professional development skills. One of those is the clinical experiences. We know how important those are for you. So we've set up an opportunity for you to interact with our Portland State University Cadaver Lab, which is really cool. You'll get an opportunity to do some hands-on anatomy exploration and also really focus on understanding the human body and the systems and how they interact together and how that plays out in healthcare. You'll also get a chance to interact with our OHSU Simulation Center, which is an amazing center. We just had a chance to tour the facility and it is really cool. You'll get to gain some practical clinical skills using some of the state-of-the-art medical simulations with real life ER rooms and hospital rooms, OR, all of that. And you'll just get some exposure to real world healthcare scenarios and get to play your part in what it's like to be a clinician. We'll also have some specialized training for you. And one of those that's really important to us is our tribal opioid response training. Here, you're going to be able to gain some tools to address the opioid crisis, not only in our Native communities, but across the United States as a whole. And this will be led by our Northwest Portland Area Indian Health Board. And you'll get to meet and network and connect with some of those amazing experts who work at the health board as well. We'll also have skill building workshops for you to participate in. A couple of these are the financial planning workshop that is hosted by the AAMC. And this is a really great one because this helps you learn how to budget for your medical education and all those applications and steps you're going to take ahead of you. You'll also learn about health policy and advocacy as well as civil rights as well. So you'll start to understand what those laws are and what the policies are that are actually impacting healthcare access. You'll also learn about some health inequities that lead to those health disparities that we see playing out in our healthcare system. And you'll also explore ways to advocate for Indigenous health equity, which is a key component of our program. And then, of course, our academic side, we want you to have a really strong opportunity to engage in academic enrichment. And so we've set up our program to have core science courses. So you'll be going through biology, where you're going to learn about cell biology and genetics, and really dive into understanding the human biology and gaining some of those foundational principles that'll help you in your future higher level biology courses. We'll also have a chemistry component as well, where you're going to learn not only basic chemistry, but also organic chemistry concepts. And we want to really tie those into not just the molecular structures, but understanding what those reactions are that are tied to your health. We'll also have anatomy and physiology as a part of our program. You'll be learning about the human systems and their functions, and you'll be building those foundations for your clinical applications. And then finally, we have a component that revolves around public health and epidemiology, which is also really important to round out our core sciences. So you'll be really diving into health trends, health disparities, but really taking a look at what's impacting Indian country, what's impacting Native health, and also learning about Native excellence in health and what we've been doing that really just enhances the way we think about traditional Western medicine. So I'm super excited about that. We'll also learn about Indigenous health data, which is really a really important topic, and how to analyze that data as well. So throughout our academic enrichment, we want to bring an Indigenous perspective to our STEM courses, highlighting Native contributions to science and to healthcare, and also connecting all of these STEM topics to Indigenous traditional knowledge. But also important is another layer, which is environmental health. And we know that our environment impacts our health outcomes as well. So we're going to focus on that with you too.
So a little bit about how our program is structured. Like we said, weeks 1 through 3 will be virtual. We're going to start July 7th. We're going to try not to do too long, so we did 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. And the focus will be like all of the core classes and some of those workshops. And then our in-person is going to be here in Portland again, and that will be the more hands-on and clinical skills that you guys will be working on, as well as we will have some cultural visits and activities for students that are in our program.
We also know how challenging it could be to be a student and also handling all the things that are happening in your life at the same time. So we're going to have woven into our curriculum an academic skills and wellness thread, which we call ASA. Our focus areas of this will be learning about study skills. How do I take notes, test preparation, and reading strategies? We're also going to go through time management to really build up those tools that you'll have to balance that academic and personal responsibilities that you have. And then really important to this is stress management. We know that can be really challenging. So we're going to walk through some coping strategies, mindfulness exercises, and resilience building. So you'll get to participate in discussions with your mentors and with your peers and also with other medical experts in the field who are going to share about their own pathways and the things that they've been able to do to enhance their wellness and their academic success. And we'll go through mindfulness techniques, breathing exercises, Indigenous wellness, lots of really awesome opportunities for you to just really dive deep and learn more.
We're also going to have the Indigenous Health and Wellness, which we call IHA. And so we were talking a little bit about some of the cultural activities. So we will be going out into the community to hopefully do some community engagement activities, connection to our Indigenous knowledge, and then Indigenous health and science identity. So helping you guys build, being able to see yourself as health science people.
So why join Tilikum? Well, we want you to join. We want you to come join us in Portland, but there's a lot of reasons. Some of those are we want to really help you build a strong foundation in those core sciences. So again, the biology, the chemistry, the anatomy, and public health. But in addition to all that, we want to help you gain your confidence in mastering those topics and getting ready to enter into your health professions and getting ready for all of those applications and opportunities that are going to be ahead of you after this experience. And also, we want you to be able to interact with, build relationships, and learn from other Native and allied health professionals. So a lot of our courses will be co-taught by professionals who are bringing that Indigenous perspective so that we can share not only Western, but those Indigenous ways of knowing as well. You'll get to network with peers and mentors like I was mentoring and build some really lasting relationships with fellow AIAN students. In the picture you see there are some of our students who had participated in our WIES program at the Native American Center of Excellence, and they've matriculated onto medical school at OHSU, and many of them will be joining us in our classes and serving as peer mentors to you as well. And then you'll also be able to really engage in Indigenous health issues. We want to bring up the topics, we want to have the conversations, and really start to work together as a team and bring your ideas, bring your creativity and your lived experiences to come up with solutions to some of these issues.
Again, some of our experiences, we will have a welcome dinner. We're hoping to visit the NNACoE garden, which is a local garden here. We will be making some cultural items for elders. We're hoping to go visit the Grand Round Resource Center. We'll have some of our YES inspired activities, and then we'll be doing a closing ceremony as well. And then again, just our important dates for application. The application closes February 5th. Remembering that these are Eastern times that we are having to make sure that our Pacific Standard students understand. So the time for that is 8:59 p.m. on February 5th. Making sure that you understand to go to the SHPEP application system. And then just so you guys know, we will also have some office hours and some other webinars for any students that want to join. Our Tilikum staff are going to be doing those. And so following our social medias, you'll find some information. You can also see our website, the Tilikum website, to register for some of those. And make sure to start your application early and turn it in early.
So next steps, yes, visit our Tilikum webpage. There's a QR code right there that you can scan with your phone. It'll take you right to our webpage. You can check out more details about our program. We have some FAQs on there, so some questions. But as Aletha mentioned, please register for our webinars. We have one coming up this Friday. We also have office hours, so please register for those. Come and ask us any questions you have about the program and about the application process. We want to support you. And then again, yes, submit that application. We want to read your statements and get your applications and start welcoming you into our program. But remember, you have to apply through the SHPEP application portal.
Oh, I think we're supposed to go to the next one. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. Yes. So this one is just in case there's some extra information there. We've already gone through all of this, but there is a QR code there and a link if you wanted to go to the application materials page.
Then here is our contact information. So you can contact me. There's our website again. And then next one. We did want to put some of the requirements. You do have to be COVID-19 vaccinated to be able to come to campus. That is one of our requirements here. And then we get this question a lot, so we just decided to say it. We do not get credit for completing the program. And then the program is free. So these are some of the ones that we've had a lot of questions for.
And that's our program. We're really excited to welcome you and look forward to any questions you have.
Perfect. And I want to thank our presenters tonight for going over each of the programmatic logistics for each of their sites. I'm going to go on ahead. There's a few questions in the Q&A, but I've also prepared a few questions just to kind of get the conversation started as well. And the first one I really want to touch on is how are we evaluating students, or how are each of your sites doing that? And I know I tossed around a buzzword, holistic review. We're not looking at just the GPA. So if we could touch a little bit on that, and also at the same time, maybe, how do applicants stand out through this application process as well? So a 2-for-1. If we can answer that, we could start with John and then go over to OHSU and PSU to answer the rest.
Yeah, Tony, I think that was a great question, and I know students really want to know. So when we look at our applications, we're going to be looking at a couple of things. Of course, we're going to look at the courses that have been taken. That's more so for us to understand the needs and where we're going to help the students be placed in terms of the courses, the course experiences that we're going to have. But also, we really want to focus on their personal statements and what is it that's driving them to do this program. With the GPA of 2.5, there's going to be a range of students that are applying, but we want to make sure that the students that do apply, regardless of whether they're 4.0 or right at that 2.5, that they have a passion, and that passion comes off in their personal statements as well as their letters of recommendation. So those pieces are going to be very critical for us, and that we through several of our programs, we've kind of mastered how we look at those narrative statements to really draw out which candidates are really serious about programming and which candidates are probably going to thrive in our programs beyond just grades. And so that's going to be that's going to be the biggest piece for us. What is your narrative statement saying, and how does that align with what we're trying to provide?
Yeah, I can share a little bit. I want to echo a lot of what John mentioned. We're also very interested in hearing about your journey and what has inspired you to want to become a future healer and enter into the healthcare field. So we're going to be looking at those personal statements. And we know that this might be a first opportunity for many of you to travel away from home and to get an experience like this on a campus where you get to dive into learning about what the healthcare field is like and making some of these connections. So tell us about what this means to you. Tell us about why this is important and how this is really going to, kind of set you on your pathway and on your journey to becoming a future healthcare leader. We're, I think, really just interested in your story and really answering that question, why. That's going to be really important to us.
Perfect. And I had a follow-up specifically for the Tilikum Summer Health Experience. Would Native Hawaiians also be eligible for this program? Or I just want to just get some clarity there if we can.
Yes, I believe so. Absolutely.
Perfect. And we talked a lot about personal statements, and I see a question in the chat. I'll personally address it. It says, if you're kind of new to this, like, what is a personal statement? And really, it's an opportunity to share your story, right? Like, why you want to pursue a career in the health professions. For SHPEP specifically, it's 600 words max. So I definitely want to make sure that you're getting at least close to that limit. You don't want to sell yourself short, but definitely be able to tell, like, what inspired you, what about the health professions makes, not only what inspired you, but what makes you want to pursue this career as well, in medicine specifically, and what would this program do for you on your career trajectory? So just a couple things to kind of think about. Think about also what communities you want to serve. And obviously I'm spitballing here, but let's hear from our sites. Like what are some pieces or core components you want to hear in a personal statement?
So for me, and my team, when we read a personal statement, we want to hear we want to hear what drives you and what motivates you. And sometimes that may be something personal that has happened in your life. Sometimes it may be an experience or something that you've seen, or sometimes it's just what problems are you trying to solve and how will this help you get to solving those problems. But the biggest thing is we're not necessarily looking for the most flowery or the most loquacious statements with big words, and we want to get that sincerity from you. What are you sincerely presenting to us as to why you want to do this? And just to kind of give some feedback, I've seen strong personal statements that have been very straightforward, very honest, but you could tell from what was stated in that personal statement that that person really thought about this particular pathway or this particular program or these particular opportunities, and they really saw how those opportunities connected them to the goal that they were trying to achieve. So also, if you can tie in how this opportunity will help you in your future opportunities, and can kind of lay out the fact that you've done that kind of analysis or that kind of thinking through it, that will be a really strong piece to put in your personal statement.
I again agree with John. And then for ours, I think specifically what our goal for natives going into the healthcare system is we don't have native professionals in our communities, in our rural communities, in our tribes. And so, they always tell us go out and get your education and come back and help your people. And so that's really like one of the things that we like to hear. And I know sometimes that's not feasible to go back to your community, but you can find different ways to support your native community or your tribe or even, another tribe or community that you're in. But I think it's just that being able to give back in that way.
No, Letha, if I can add this to that, I think one of the things that's kind of gone across both of our programs is that we care about the communities where we are, and we know that there's a need there. And you're right. It may not be, for example, that you come back to Georgia, but there's Texas, Alabama, North Dakota, California. They have rural areas, and so just that matters to us because because you're going someplace that needs you. And the same thing with Native American tribes, right? There are tribes across the country that need that understanding of the issues that are seen in your community. So all of those things we really want to see in your personal statement that you understand these aspects.
And you know what? A theme that I heard personally was more so with cultural values, right? Because it's about what community you ultimately want to serve. But I also want to tie this into like cultural values, right? Because each of your experience are going to offer cultural values, traditions, um, the heritage and history of Native Americans and African Americans, and specifically their communities. So how are you going to tie all this into the programming that you're going to do at each of your sites?
Well, yeah, I can start. We've been thinking really hard about how we can weave Indigenous values into pretty much everything that we do. And that even goes into our core science curriculum. When we're going to be thinking about some of those basics and foundations, we're going to be asking questions that relate to our communities and to some of those health disparities and some of those health inequities, some of those health issues that are impacting our communities, and really trying to understand what those inequities are and how can we as healthcare professionals and providers and clinicians come up with some of those solutions. So we're going to be going through case studies. We're going to be doing group work together where you can come together as a team and start to come up with some of those answers and work together. We're also going to have an opportunity for you to think about your ideal healthcare system. What does that look like for you and for your community? And if you could imagine anything, forget about what things look like now, but come together and really be brave and dream about what changes you would make. We're going to give you an opportunity to work together and build something beautiful that could be in the form of art, it could be a story, it could be anything, and we want you to share that. And that's how you're also building your scientific identity, your healthcare identity, but also you're bringing your Indigenous identity into the work that you're doing.
Love that. That is beautiful. One of the things that I want to stress about our particular site is that we are not only in a rural area, but we're in a southern rural area, which has its own cultural values and has a number of cultural issues, positive and negative, that impact healthcare every single day, whether it's traditions, whether it's our diet, whether it is expectations of who you are and what you should do in your particular community based on race or socioeconomic status or geographic isolation. All of those things impact our healthcare and our healthcare outcomes here. And so we want to really impress upon you that piece. And that's going to be primarily impressed upon you through our public health research with Dr. Jones. She focuses on that across a number of demographics here in Southwest Georgia, and she's developing a program that'll allow us to really engage in that piece. But also, one of the things that we always hear when in the South when you're younger is if you can see it, you can be it, right? And so we want to show you a pathway and a pipeline, well, a pathway and a continuum of people at multiple stages of the medical profession, those who are newly minted, who are alums of Albany State University, who are now doctors graduating from their respective medical schools, but also those who have sage wisdom, who have been doing it for 30 years and 40 years. And we want to bring them all together because that kind of community allows you to be able to pull from the expertise of those who are going through what you're trying to go through just a few years ago, as well as those who have been able to see the whole healthcare landscape change over decades. And that kind of wisdom is invaluable, is priceless. And so bringing all of them to the table will allow you to be able to see the excellence that also can exist in the healthcare field as we're trying to fill these gaps. And that excellence comes from communities just like yours.
Personally, as I think about like our communities, I think about something that's called imposter syndrome, the sense of not belonging. How do you build that sense of belonging, or how do you plan to do that with your scholars for this upcoming cohort?
Yeah. Oh, Alita, were you gonna? I was just gonna say, imposter syndrome is one of those things where I wish we didn't even have those terms because I want everyone here who's listening to know that you do belong, you are enough, and this is a pathway for you. And so we want you to feel welcome and feel a part of everything that we're doing with our curriculum and in our activities. And just know that you're going to be building community together. The friends that you're going to make and the relationships you're going to build with your mentors, these don't have to end at the end of the summer. These are relationships that you can have for life and you can build on those because you're all meant to be here. You are on this journey. And so you're right where you need to be right now. And I think another part of that is by bringing in our Indigenous health and wellness activities. We want you to remember that we're not asking you to leave leave behind all those things that make you who you are. We want those to be a part of you and a part of our curriculum, because those are the things that make us unique and help us to bring our stories. And so all of those different activities that we're going to be doing, like beading, like weaving, even we've been thinking about powwow yoga. There's just a number of different things we want you to engage in, because that, is who you are, and that makes you an even better healthcare provider.
And I'll also add the Northwest Native American Center of Excellence. They don't just stop at, we have a high school program, and we go through, the post-baccalaureate, the White East program, and then they also support students through medical school and residency. So once you're part of the NACoE family, like, you're always a part of the NACoE family. So and with this department here at OHSU, it's really making sure that our tribal students do have that space, do have that voice, and they have this whole department to back them up. So
Imposter syndrome is one of those things where just about everybody who's had to work for anything has probably dealt with it at some point in time. But one of the things I've seen with many of my students, and what we want to make sure we impress upon you if you come to our program, is this: those voices that tell you you can't. You have to drown them out with voices that tell you you can. And so the way that we want to do that is, one, help you really evaluate who you are and what makes you excellent just by virtue of the fact that you've made it this far. And so that self-evaluation, that self-reflection is one thing that we want to do, so that you can see your wins and you can see your pluses, so that you can have that as a foundation for why your excellence matters to the rest of us. But then also showing you people who also had imposter syndrome but made it anyway, who when they had those stumbles, they still got through it, and they're now professionals and doing wonderfully in their fields. And so when we bring in these speakers, and when we bring in these networking mentors and these dignitaries in the city, they'll be able to share with you their stories that I can't share with you because my path is different from everybody else's. But all of our paths will be able to give you some nuggets of wisdom and some experiences that you can pull from, so that when you face your own doubts about yourself, you'll be able to pull on, if they were able to do it, I can do it. If I can see it, I can be it. And so that's one of the things that we really want to impress upon you. And that's how we plan on tackling it, through helping you to evaluate yourself through self-reflection, but also helping you to see examples of those who can serve as mentors and serve as role models in multiple ways through this program and beyond.
And you know what? As I'm thinking about all this, right, it probably takes a huge deal of training to get the staff and faculty on the same page in order to implement a lot of these ideas, right? So that's going to be my question. Like, what do you do on your site to train your faculty and staff to help students from marginalized communities?
Well, I'll share with you that, as I mentioned, we have a number of programs that we've been doing in the community already with high school students, as well as some of our undergrads here. And so we have a cadre of faculty who are already devoted to this and have been doing this work. And this becomes this big opportunity for us to really put Albany State on the map, to show the work that we've been doing. However, there is some additional training that we want to provide to any additional faculty that want to join with us. Some of this is going to come in the form of our workshops and seminars that we're doing with our faculty here before the program, including a workplace retreat where we'll discuss things like DEI, and DEI plus B, belonging as well. We'll discuss things like imposter syndrome and how to work with people who have imposter syndrome, to help pull out their excellence. These are all things that we've been planning for our faculty who are already working with us and have been doing this work, to add as additional training before they meet this cohort, because this is going to be a very special cohort for us. This is our first one with this new initiative, and so we want to make sure that we're putting the best people in front of you to help you through this experience.
And from our side, I can say many of our faculty and staff and those who work at the Northwest Native American Center of Excellence are Native folks who are Native researchers, who are Native physicians, Native educators. But those who aren't are also going to be offered training as well at Portland State University. We have mentorship training that we offer to anyone who is a mentor and who is working with undergraduates. And so we go through everything from cultural awareness to, how to be a great mentor and how to listen and how to value the voices of your mentees. So they'll be able to engage in that mentorship training. But we also have incorporated co-teaching, as I was mentioning. So we'll have some of our core science faculty who are leading those courses working alongside Indigenous co-teachers who can bring that Indigenous perspective into the STEM classes along with them.
Perfect. And I see that we're coming up on time. So let's go into like last pieces of advice for any applicant that's listening to this right now, or just anyone that listens to it in the future. What's one piece of advice that you want to give an applicant to help them have a strong application?
I'll start. So my quick advice to you would be one, reach out to us. We gave you our contact information. Reach out to us. It's also on our website. We answer and we give detailed answers to any questions that you may have. So no question is a bad question, but ask, and ask more, because more information will help you craft a great application. And then as a quick additional piece, make sure that whenever you're crafting your documents to submit with your application, allow someone that you trust, either a professor, a mentor, or somebody, look over your documents. Don't submit without having at least someone that you trust look over your documents. And that would be the case no matter what you're applying to. I would tell you that. But in particular, for this program, have them look over your documents as well, so that you can get that thumbs up from someone that you really trust when you submit it to us.
Yeah, I would just agree. Join us for our webinars. We have two coming up. Again, one on this Friday, December 20th, one on January 10th that we'll be offering and going over all of the things we shared today and even more. And come to our office hours. Ask us any questions you have. We're here to help you get through your applications, tell you more about our program. And I think the one big piece of advice is don't be afraid if you're nervous about this experience or you think you might not get accepted. Please apply. We want to hear from you. We want to welcome you into our program, and we're excited to meet you this summer.
Perfect. And, I want to thank each of the presenters tonight. I think they did a tremendous job in going over the logistics of each of their program sites. If I'm an applicant right now, I feel at ease and I understand that, hey, you know what? I know what I need to do in order to, excel and potentially shine during the application process. And hopefully I get into one of these programs because it's a great opportunity and experience. I do want to close this out. So this webinar is being recorded and it'll be posted on the SHPEPconnect YouTube channel within a week of the live viewing. And please be sure to follow us on social media, all platforms at SHPEPconnect. So like that, you can keep up to date with everything that's going on with the application. And, we put out a lot of content for sure for anyone who's interested in the health profession. So it's always a good follow. Thanks, everyone, and I hope everyone has a great evening.